Noticing something unusual about our atmosphere, nearly 30 classmates had gathered around us. "Come to think of it, I haven't told you which company I work for yet." "It's a big company, so I'm sure you know it, too," he said. My classmate Tom made a grand introduction, telling Emily, who was with me, the name of the company he works for. With about 30 classmates listening, he might have felt more confident. After talking loudly about himself, he suddenly turned to me and called me out. "John, were you surprised to hear my company's name? If you're jealous, you should start job hunting and work for a better company." His rant attracted even more people. Watching this scene, I felt a sense of nostalgia. I remembered how, back in middle school, everyone would gather to protect Emily from Tom whenever he teased her. Then they tried to calm him down. "My name is John, a single man in my 40s. I've never been good at studying, but I always preferred creating things on my own rather than following orders." Even though this could have made me seem selfish, I was fortunate to have classmates who never treated me as a troublemaker. On the contrary, I was often chosen to be the captain of the club or class representative, so people naturally looked to me as a leader. Although I didn't like being ordered around, I didn't enjoy giving orders either. So, talking things through with everyone and moving forward in a way that satisfied us all seemed to work well. I don't have any major regrets in my life and enjoyed my time in high school and college. Still, if I had to pick the most fulfilling time, it would be middle school. Today is a middle school reunion with those old friends. It's been 20 years since we last met when we were 20. Feeling excited, I headed to the hotel hosting the event. "Hey, long time no see. You all haven't changed." I thought I arrived a bit early, but it seemed everyone else was already there. Like me, they must have been looking forward to today. While catching up with some classmates nearby, a cheerful voice came from behind. "Looks like you're having fun. Talking about work?" I turned around to see a familiar face. Dressed in a flashy suit with a luxurious scarf was Tom. His phone had an oddly childish charm hanging from it. At first, I didn't recognize him, but then I saw the distinctive mole by his eye and knew it was Tom. We had been chatting lively, but a few people made sour faces and left when they saw him. "Tom, I didn't recognize you. You're all dressed up in that fancy suit. You guys haven't changed. Maybe you should pay more attention to your appearance," he mocked, looking us up and down. "Well, the clothes you wear reflect who you are. You're probably not doing great jobs or making much money. Having a meal at a place like this must be a big expense for you." Ignoring the awkwardness around him, Tom continued his snide remarks. I could only manage a wry smile, but Tom shifted the conversation to work. "By the way, you were talking about work earlier, right? What do you all do?" Without waiting for answers, Tom started pointing at each person. "You're really tanned, so you must be in construction. And you weren't bright, so you probably work in farming. You even smell a bit. You should take care of that." Annoyed by his disrespectful comments, I retorted, "Hey, that's pretty rude. There's no such thing as a lowly job. Everyone's work is what keeps society going. You should watch your words." I couldn't hide my irritation and ended up speaking harshly. Feeling bad for dampening the reunion mood, I noticed Tom didn't seem to care at all. "Why so serious? Are you doing manual labor too, John? You always acted like a big shot, but you were never that smart." He laughed, walking over to the group of women. "Who does he think he is?" Still as obnoxious as ever, some around me muttered. Tom had always disrupted the group's harmony, unable to read the room and eager to stand out. I guess some things never change. I shifted my focus and started reminiscing with my classmates. As the reunion began, the atmosphere grew lively, helped along by the alcohol. Back in middle school, communicating honestly with girls was tough because of puberty, but now it was nice to see we could all interact maturely. Sharing thoughts and impressions we couldn't express back then, and admitting we wanted to be closer, made for a wonderful time. When I heard my name, I turned to see Emily calling me. "Emily. It's been a while." My voice got louder because Emily was actually my first crush. I wasn't the only one who found her attractive. She was the center of attention for many boys back then. Even after all these years, she looked remarkably youthful for someone in her 40s, with a mature elegance that made her even more captivating. "You haven't changed at all, John," she said. Are you saying I haven't grown since middle school? As we exchanged lighthearted banter, I felt my heart race. My eyes were drawn to her hands, and I noticed she wasn't wearing a ring. So, is she still single? Not that I wanted to start dating her now, but knowing she was married would have stung. Even though it shouldn't matter to me now, I felt a strange relief seeing no ring, only to immediately dismiss my thoughts. Many married people don't wear rings. Given how attractive she is, she must have a wonderful husband and a lovely family. I wanted to ask about her husband but felt it was too intrusive. However, Emily asked directly, "Aren't you married?" I mistakenly thought she was interested in my marital status. Like her, I wasn't wearing a wedding ring. I quickly realized my silly assumption. Her question seemed purely polite, with no deeper meaning. Feeling a bit despondent, I replied, "No, I'm not. You might remember, I never had a girlfriend in middle school. Everyone had bad taste." I tried to sound humorous, smiling at her. Despite what I said, I wasn't unpopular with girls. Though I never had a girlfriend, a few girls did ask to go out. I never dated anyone because I genuinely loved Emily. Even seeing my friends with their girlfriends, I couldn't bring myself to date someone I didn't love. Maybe you were popular back then, but it was like how fast runners are popular in elementary school, she joked. Though said in jest, being compared to an elementary school crush was a bit disheartening. Sure, young love often revolved around looks, athletic ability, and social status. Yet, hearing this from still charming Emily made me feel somewhat rejected. Perhaps my feelings showed on my face. Emily quickly backtracked. "You didn't take that seriously, did you?" "Just joking." "Same as before, you were so earnest." Whether she meant it or not, her reassurance eased my mind. As we continued chatting over our meal, Tom interrupted again. "Emily. There you are. Hanging out with John must be boring. Come chat with me." Tom, the annoying guy, had arrived. He motioned for me to leave. Though I enjoyed talking with Emily, I figured she'd rather socialize with others, even if it was someone like Tom. Glancing at Emily, I saw her looking troubled. "John, go away. Aren't you starving? Go fill up while you can." Tom sneered, pushing me aside to sit next to Emily. She looked mildly annoyed but listened to him anyway. "I recently got promoted to management. Top guys always rise fast. It's just a different level of competence from everyone here," he boasted to Emily, who responded with polite nods. I watch and wait for the right moment to step in and help with the childish communication. Noticing the unusual atmosphere between the two, nearly 30 classmates had gathered around. "By the way, I haven't told you what company I work for yet, have I?" "It's a major company, so I'm sure you know it, Emily." Tom made a big deal of announcing the name of his company. Hearing the name, Emily looked at me in surprise. Tom must have known I was nearby. With about 30 classmates listening, Tom seemed to grow more confident. Raising his voice, Tom started talking about himself. He bragged about his high salary, the prestigious company he worked for, and how insignificant the rest of us were, completely ignoring the worsening atmosphere. Then he turned to me and called me out directly. "John, were you surprised to hear the name of my company? If you're jealous, why don't you start job hunting and get a better job?" Tom's ranting drew even more people. Watching this scene made me feel nostalgic. I remembered how in middle school, everyone would gather to protect Emily whenever Tom tried to bother her. And they started to speak up against Tom. There he goes again, trying to feel superior. Yeah, he cornered me about my job and salary earlier too. Why is he picking a fight with John, anyway? Their complaints reached Tom's ears. Annoyed, he turned to me with a threatening attitude. People's worth is determined by the company they work for and how much they get paid. You can't stay on top forever just because you were cool in middle school. Hearing Tom's absurd statements made me feel embarrassed for him. He needed to be put in his place. "So, which branch do you work at? I'm starting to worry about your competence." "What? What are you trying to say?" While Tom looked puzzled, our classmates laughed at him. I wasn't boasting, but we had been sharing our work and family situations, so they understood the point of my question. Tom looked ridiculous, and it was hard not to laugh. "Why does it matter which branch? It doesn't make someone better if they work at the headquarters. What matters is the company you're in. Then Tom suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, John, are you trying to claim that it doesn't matter what job you have, but you care about being at the headquarters?" Pathetic. His misguided remark caused a burst of laughter. Realizing something was off, but still not fully grasping the situation, I decided to clarify for him. It's not that the headquarters is superior. I respect those at the branches who contribute to the overall success. But I brought him back to reality. Someone with your attitude could tarnish the company's image. One person can cause a lot of damage. I tried to explain, but Tom didn't understand. His face turned red as he snapped back at me. "You're mocking me. No one at my company would care about a complaint from someone like you." His defiance stirred up the crowd, cheering him on. Tom's outlandish comments were energizing the reunion. "Hey, you should tell him the truth before he feels even worse later," Emily whispered to me. Tom's unintended entertainment was unexpected, but Emily was right. It was time to end this. "You know, the company you work for is the one I founded." "What? You're dreaming. There's no way you started a company like that." Further explanations seemed pointless. I was about to give up, but Emily showed Tom her phone screen. "Look, it's right here. If you're so proud of your company, you should at least know the names and faces of the executives." Thanks to Emily's evidence, Tom finally understood. Turning pale, Tom weakly said, "I didn't know. I might have misspoken, but could you forgive me for old time's sake?" Tom's sudden change in attitude made the onlookers groan with annoyance. The classmates satisfied and started to disperse. "Did you change your attitude because I'm the executive of the company?" It's not about forgiveness. It's your attitude that's concerning. I get it, I really do reflect. "I'm sorry," Tom stammered. Seeing that he didn't really understand, I sighed and spoke frankly. "I'll make sure your boss knows. If you're doing your job well, there won't be any issues, but be mindful of how you express yourself. Your thoughts inevitably show in your words and actions." Standing straight and suddenly using formal language, Tom said, "I understand." Emily chuckled at his abrupt change. Though I had been enjoying my conversation with Emily, Tom had soured the mood. I was about to leave when Emily suggested, "Let's continue our talk over there." Tom frowned at this. "Are you hitting on a classmate just because you started a company? What's wrong with you?" "I just want to reminisce." Tom, who had been subdued, seemed to be feeling something different now. Thinking of how restless he was, I listened to him. "Emily, don't just approach someone because he started a company. Judge them by their character." "What are you talking about?" "I've been looking forward to seeing everyone, including John, long before I knew about his company. It's you who's been fixated on jobs and salaries since we got here." Tom could only groan in response to her valid argument. Suddenly, he held up his phone. "I've kept this the whole time. It's the strap Emily gave me. Remember?" For someone flaunting luxury brands, it seemed oddly childish for Tom to wear. However, it turned out to be a gift from Emily during middle school days. Tom, full of anticipation, watched for Emily's reaction. Emily exclaimed, "Oh," and revealed a shocking truth. "I remember. I bought that on a trip in middle school. Yeah, I was so happy. Even though you never asked to go out, if your feelings haven't changed since then." Emily cut him off to explain. Immediately, Tom's face darkened. That souvenir was actually meant to be a gift for me. Emily had intended to secretly give it to me, but mistakenly put it in Tom's desk instead. She had attached a note to the keychain, simply stating it was bought on a trip, without addressing it to anyone. Tom saw it and assumed Emily had bought it for him. She wanted to correct the mistake, but seeing Tom proudly and mistakenly thinking it was for him made her too embarrassed to say anything. Hearing Emily's explanation, Tom looked completely dejected, staring at the keychain. I felt sorry for him, but then Tom said something unbelievable. "But you don't hate me, right? If you are okay with it, I'd be willing to date you." Judging by his comment, it seemed Tom was single like me. But Emily likely already had a partner. Emily vigorously shook her head at his suggestion. "No way. I could never be happy with someone who looks down on others based on their job or lacks empathy. Her blunt response made me laugh, but Tom wasn't ready to give up. Come on. I make good money, and you wouldn't struggle with me. Besides, it's worth a shot, right? We can figure out the details later. I almost admired Tom's self-confidence. Emily decisively crushed his ego. Absolutely not. I don't need to try to know you're a shallow man. Besides, I've heard everything you own is on credit, right? So what if it is? I earned the money, and it shows I have creditworthiness. Emily gave a wry smile at his shallow reasoning. I can't be with someone who lives on credit and struggles to make payments. Our views on money are too different. Find someone who shares your values or stay single. Tom finally slumped in defeat. Feeling sorry for him, I tried to be kind. Tom, why not find someone looking for a partner instead of someone like Emily, who already has a happy family? You'll find someone good. I was trying to help him. But Tom, with tears in his eyes, retorted. What are you talking about? Emily is single. That's not encouraging at all. Just go away. Surprised, I looked at Emily, who appeared unfazed. Her lack of denial meant she was single like me. I focused too much on work and missed the chance to get married. I thought I'd be married with kids by now, but things don't always go as planned. Same here. I never imagined I'd be working and coming home to an empty house. We both laughed at our self-deprecating remarks. Emily and I continued our enjoyable conversation, and before I knew it, Tom had disappeared. Later, I contacted the branch where Tom worked to check on his job performance. As expected, he was obsequious to his superiors but condescending to juniors, worsening the work environment. After his promotion, this behavior had become more pronounced, causing issues for the staff. I quickly reached out to HR to investigate the workplace environment and performance. Depending on the results, his branch might need a personnel review. Not knowing what would happen, I hoped for a positive outcome as I waited for the results. Eventually, his internal evaluation revealed severe issues, including compliance violations. The problems extended beyond the company, with numerous customer complaints about his conduct. He was promptly demoted, had his salary cut, and was removed from any customer-facing roles. A few months later, a follow-up revealed he had resigned and presumably moved on to a new job. I hoped he had taken the time to reflect and approach his work with a fresh mindset. But no one from our class had heard from him. The reunion sparked a regular meeting between Emily and me, and we got excited about going on a trip during the next holiday. As we parted ways after a meal, Emily expressed her thoughts. Remember the souvenir that mistakenly ended up with Tom in middle school? I want to visit that place again. When I asked why, she said she felt sorry for her middle school self and thought choosing and buying a souvenir together now would make her younger self feel better. I was genuinely happy to hear that. That sounds great. If my middle school self knew he'd get to experience this in the future, he'd be overjoyed. As I laughed, Emily asked with a serious face, "Isn't the present you happy too?" Feeling my heart rate increase, I replied sincerely, "Of course, I'm happy." Hearing this, Emily smiled and went home. Watching her leave, I placed my hand over my rapidly beating heart.